Yes, people, Ricky here from Behind the Bars TV. Hope everyone's fitting well. In this episode, I'm going to talk about an attack that I witnessed in HMP Frankland and just letting the viewers know what it's like in prison and what it's like, the difference between category C's and category D's to category A and category B. Because the level of violence in the category A prisons and the category B is much more extreme than what it is in the other prisons. So Frankland is a dispersal prison. There's 5 dispersal prisons in the country. They're all high security. In these prisons, when people are using violence on each other, like their violence is actually extreme. So incidents like this can just happen over anything, but the one that I'm talking about in particular is a lad from up here in the northeast. He's from Middlesbrough, I believe, Davy Fields. I'll not mention the names of the lads that attacked him, but what happened on that day was there'd been a bit of tension on the wing, which is between a couple of the alpha males on the wing. Some lads from further down south. And Davy had been into a bit of an altercation with one of them. There was some words exchanged. Davy was up on the 2s landing. The lad in question was down on the 1s. And Davy had shouted something down to him, and the lad had looked up. And he came running up the stairs, and he came running down the landing, bowling towards him. And he's actually just grabbed his legs, picked him up, and bang, rugby tackled him, because the lad was a little stocky lad. He was really, really strong. I've witnessed him in the gym doing weights and stuff. He used to curl 100 kilos on his arms. He was that strong, this lad. So he's ran down the land and just picked Davy up, bang, put him on his head. Davy's out cold, and he's just started stamping all over him. And then there's another lad that was sitting on the phone at the time, jumped up, seen what was happening, went running over, and the pair of them are stamping all over him. Obviously, at the time, I was just on coming round when all of this was happening. By this time, the screws, because the screws were on the desk just in front of me. All that was happening further down. The screws have just jumped up, pressed the alarm. The alarms are going off. And they're just continuing to stamp and boot them all over until the screws had actually gotten there and stopped it. Dragged them off. The 2 lads had actually got put down the block. Davy Fields was in a critical condition, got took off to hospital. His injuries were actually life-threatening because he'd been smashed on his head, stamped all over. But a couple of days later, I think it might have been about 3 days later, I was down in the visiting room, in the visiting holding cell, because you've got to wait. When you go down for visits, you've got to go down, sit in like a holding room, waiting area, before you get shouted out for your visits. And Davy had a visit with his wife planned. Me personally, I would have cancelled the visit because I would never have wanted to go on a visit and let my wife see the state of us like that, because all of us lads that were sitting in the waiting room, Davy come through, because Davy at this point had been brought back into the prison. He was in the hospital wing, and he got brought up to the visits for his, obviously he had his visit with his wife, and they brought him through, but he was shuffling through, and his face was twice the size, black and blue. I don't think I've ever seen anyone's face as bad after a beating. And he could hardly talk. He said, lifted his head up, all right, lads, and went walking through and went on the visit with his wife. But like I say, I would never have wanted to sit on a visit and let my wife. I would have come up with some excuse and I can't say you, come in next week. But after that incident, Davy, he never seemed the same since then. I don't know if he'd suffered some sort of, when he got the head injury, he must have, obviously something like that's going to have a massive effect on you, isn't it? But yeah, after that, like I say, the lads had getting moved to a different prison. Davy obviously got stayed on the wing. At the time, Davy was category A prisoner still. I think he served about, at this point, he'd been in around about 18 years. This was when I met him. And he was still category A. I think another couple of years after that, he actually got his Cap B after that and got moved on through the system. But I'm bringing this to light just to let people know what prison is actually like. Because when you get all these idiots talking about prison, no matter you've done a couple of months here, a couple of months there, and they're saying, prison's nothing, prison's this, It's just like a holiday camp. We'll go in there, we'll have fun, we'll get off our heads, we'll do this, we'll do that. But you'll realize when you get to the big prisons what prison is actually like. It's not glamorous, it's not fun, it's a dangerous place, it's survival of the fittest. You've got to be on your toes constantly, because one wrong move, one altercation with somebody, and you're getting seriously hurt. And when someone's attacking you, they're not just trying to give you a couple of bats, give you a black eye. They're trying to kill you. These lads are in here for serious time. Some of them are serving 30-year sentences. They're never getting released. So what have they got to lose? If you've got beef with them, they're fucking putting it on you and you're getting it big time. But yeah, that's what happens in the Katia prisons. But I've got plenty more stories, people. So if you're enjoying the content, remember to like and subscribe. Take care.